Welcome to an all new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Aluchibi. Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Aluchibi, aka the elusive pundit. Honey, how are you feeling? Well, I'm feeling good actually. We are on the second week of April, and in April, like I said last week, we are speaking on emotions as messengers. So basically, what emotions come to tell us. And last week, I made the mistake of putting the disclaimer in the middle of the conversation. So this week, I will put the disclaimer in front of the conversation. So, no, I'm not a psychologist, and we're not talking about clinical emotions or anything related to any clinical issues that might need clinical attention in a formal place. We merely talking about everyday emotions that we experience as human beings, and that is why I'm here. So last week we spoke about anger and what it tells us in terms of its message to human beings. And this week we will be talking about jealousy. Jealous. Well, this week we will be talking about jealousy, the emotion of self-reflection and what it means to us. And I will be breaking my talk into four main topics. So the first one is what is jealousy in terms of its definition. And then the second one is where does jealousy come from? And then the third one is the types of jealousy that we experience as human beings. And then last but not least, how to cope with feelings of jealousy for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. What is jealousy? So now into our first main talking point. What is jealousy? So I went to go Google clinical definitions of jealousy. I couldn't find a lot that merged with my main theme for what I believe jealousy is. So I decided to take all the three jealousy definitions that were available to me to bring the point home. So the first definition of jealousy, we have three. Feeling or showing envious resentment of someone, their achievements, possession, or perceived success. So the first definition of jealousy speaks to feeling envious and resentment towards what another person has, whether that is what they have achieved, the top performing student at school, their possessions, they have the new discovery car, and their perceived advantages. Oh, that person sings better than me, that person is more eloquent in their pronunciations of words, that person is more beautiful than me. So definitely the first definition of jealousy is having envy towards someone else and what they have. The second definition of jealousy says feeling resentment against someone because of that person's rivalry, success, or advantages. So basically, you're up and someone you have problems with. And I wanted to add this because of that rivalry sentiment, because success and advantage speaks to the first definition that we spoke about. So the second one is someone who is your rival, you're up. The third definition is feeling angry or bitter because you think another person is trying to take your lover, your friend, or replace you in terms of affiliation towards another human being. So that is jealousy of the heart, and usually this type of jealousy exists in friendships, exists in romantic relationships, and exists in any collision between two people that are on one side of a coin. And now to the second segment of jealousy, which is where does jealousy come from? So before we get to the second segment of jealousy pertaining to where jealousy comes from, we spoke a lot about the definition of jealousy when someone is envious towards you, or you feeling envious towards someone because of you perceive them to be more successful than you perceive them to have more resources than you. So it's basically you looking at another person, which is why I decided to have the topic as jealousy as the emotion of self-reflection. So basically what I meant by that is you are jealous because you are looking into someone else's cup. Oh, that person is more successful than you, or that person is more famous than you, or that person actually is more fit than you in terms of physical appearance, or that person has more resources than you, they were born rich, feel like they can take your position in terms of a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a position in your job. Basically, it is what you are supposed to be looking for towards yourself. And because you're not concentrating on what you have in terms of resources where you're currently sitting, you are busy using your energy to go check what someone else is doing, which is why you have that envious feeling, because you are looking into someone else's grass being greener than yours instead of looking at your grass. And if it's patchy, then pour water in it, take care of it so that it can be green. And I wanted to get into that before we move to where jealousy comes from. And that is what I meant. And all of us experience jealousy, and I do experience jealousy, not often, and it usually has to do with like vanity. Like for me, I like appearing physically appealing. It is like my thing, and more like exercise type of physical appearance, because I believe I'm beautiful regardless of what size I am. But I like people who take care of themselves physically. So when I see like the fitness bunnies on Instagram, I'm like, oh, I wish it was me. But then that jealousy element comes from the fact that I'm not reflecting on my own self in terms of I've got to body myself. And if I'm focused in terms of what I'm eating and going to the gym actively, I can get there. So when I'm feeling jealousy, I definitely self-reflect in terms of what am I not doing that's making me jealous. And oftentimes when I look at the fitness bunnies, I was like, oh, these girls are killing it. It's because I'm not going to the gym and I'm not eating healthy and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do to get like the muscles. So yeah, I wanted to just bring that to the table. And yeah, again, if you think someone is more number one than you, it's because you are undermining your own self and you're not using that as a guide and a sign that you need to elevate yourself. And you feel jealousy because of another thing, which is insecurity. And insecurity comes from you believing in self lack and you believing that you can't do it and you don't have the same resources as the other person. And again, that is calling for you to self reflect, which is why we are talking about jealousy as an emotion of self-reflection. So let's get into now where jealousy comes from. Jealousy comes from, jealousy comes from a lot of things, but I will be speaking mainly about four things. And the first thing is that you feel emotions of jealousy because you fear that someone will take what you have. This is in the circumstances of a romantic relationship, friendship relationships, or any type of form of relationships. When you are feeling jealous because someone you are affiliated to or you have relations to is now having other relations with other people, and you feel inadequate and you feel insecure because you fear that that person is going to be able to take your partner away from you or take your friend away from you because you feel inadequate and insecure about your position in that relationship. And the second reason why people feel jealous is jealousy is rooted in rivalry. And as human beings, we are naturally competitive. Jealousy is rooted in rivalry, and you seeing someone as your opposition, you seeing someone as your competition, and you seeing someone as a threat to what you have. Jealousy also comes from insecurity and feeling inadequate. So I have low self-esteem and I am not pushing myself into a better self-understanding of what my position is. So I'm feeding off the spirit of lack, which leads to insecurity. So I'm insecure. So everything that looks like it's doing better than me is making me jealous. Like, oh, I'm jealous of this girl because instead of me going to varsity to finish my degree, I decided to stay behind and not do much with myself. So now that the other person is graduating, I'm feeling jealous. Or I am feeling jealous because I started a blog and I left it, and someone else started a blog and they continued, and now they're thriving. So that builds up insecurity within yourself because you were insecure. That's why you dropped what you were doing in the first place, and now you're jealous because you see other people who didn't drop what they were doing and are now successful, and that emotion of insecurity comes from feeling inadequate, so you don't complete your tasks. So jealousy may lead to a lot of things, and anger is one of those things that jealousy can lead towards, as well as resentment. We spoke about anger last week. Now we are going to the third segment, which is the different types of jealousy that we all experience. Segment 3, types of jealousies. I don't know if jealousies is a word, but like I said last week, English is not my mother tongue. So, types of jealousy. So, the first jealousy that we get is rational jealousy, which is the genuine jealousy that you get because you have reasonable doubt and you feel like this is going to be taken away from me, and now I'm jealous. Whether someone is going to take your partner, whether you're gonna lose something, and you have that feeling of jealousy. And this is like rational jealousy. Like for me, I see a fitness bunny on the internet because I haven't been exercising the whole month. Now I'm back to being flabby, and I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. And that's like rational jealousy. And then the second type of jealousy is family jealousy, which is like sibling rivalry, and it often comes when there is a new member being introduced to the family. So it's usually like when you were the only child, and then all of a sudden, like there's like another child, or like twins that come to the family. All of a sudden you're not the center of attention, and you are jealous towards like your siblings. Or maybe someone is like an overachiever and the parents always like give them the spotlight and the appraisals, and now you're jealous of that. So second one, family jealousy, which is sibling rivalry basically. And it can involve a parent too, when your mother is jealous of you because of things she wasn't able to do in her time. So you need to watch out for that as well. The third jealousy is pathological jealousy, and I'm not going to get into this because it's clinical jealousy, and it's something that you need to get sorted with a clinician or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. But basically, you need to go to a hospital if you are feeling out of control with your jealousy, or if it's something that you feel you cannot control yourself. And then the next jealousy is sexual jealousy, where you fear that your partner is unfaithful or will be unfaithful, and now you're going crazy imagining that the other person is probably doing more things than what you're doing, and you are fearing that because of that now you will lose your partner. The next jealousy is romantic jealousy, which is jealousy that can come from an imagined threat or a real threat. Like maybe there's like Jolene or like Becky with the good hair, and you're like, oh my God, now Jolene's gonna take my man. And you are sitting there jealous, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So that's like romantic jealousy, where you have a threat or a fear that your partner is going to be taken away from you by a third party. The fourth jealousy is power jealousy, and this jealousy speaks to personal insecurity that you may feel because someone is sitting in a higher power than you, and you either feel that they are not deserving, or you feel like your co-worker is getting more clout and more appraisals from your managers, and you don't like that, and you're jealous because of that. and you wish you could get all the rewards that they're getting, all the acclaim that they're getting. But basically, power jealousy comes from you feeling someone has more power and you should be the one that's sitting with that power and not them, and that is from deep envy. And now to the last segment of the jealousy conversation, which is how to cope when you suffer from jealousy. Let's get to it. So now we're at the segment where if you put your hand in your heart and you close your eyes and you like, I am feeling jealous. And for whatever reason you're feeling jealous, you are like, oh, how do I get out of this feeling? So I will take you through that in this segment. And the way that you do that is by number one, confronting your fears. What it is that you are scared of. Again, with my fitness thing, I was like, oh, the girls are leaving me behind. Now I have to catch up. I have fear of being left behind. Like, I don't want to be the one that's not following the health wave and not subscribing to being fit and being part of a healthy lifestyle. So my fear is always like, oh, if I don't catch up, then I'll sit in the slump and I will be like, look at myself like 5 years from now and be like, I should have started 5 years ago. So in order for you to address your jealousy tendencies is you need to confront your fears, what it is that you're scared about. Are you scared of losing your partner to the next person? That's why you have conjured up these jealousy feelings towards another person that they're having a conversation with. Are you scared that because your co-worker is now getting the clout from management that might be deemed as invaluable to the cooperation and they might check you out? What it is that you're fearing that leads to that jealousy when you're looking at someone with a better car than you? Are you scared that people are going to say that you're not successful or you're not putting enough weight towards your own dreams? So confront your fears is the first way in which you can deal with feelings of jealousy. And then the second one is address your expectations. This is especially in relationships, romantic, platonic, co-worker, or whatever. Any relationship, you need to address your expectations. What it is that you expect. I mean, there are people in life, I'm now one of them, who believe that a partner should be locked up in a cell in the house, sitting there and being admired. They're not allowed to have other friends. And that's the expectation. And if you're with a partner that doesn't want to be caged, wants to be outside having conversations with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you are bound to have jealousy emotions. And because that expectation wasn't addressed in the first place, now you're conjuring up cray by your own self. And the other person doesn't even know that you harbor these feelings. So address your expectations with the person immediately. And then final, just be honest and be open about, okay, this is like a feeling of jealousy. So have an honest conversation with yourself and address your own self, and then come to actionable items. So because I'm feeling jealous because my partner is having a conversation with someone else, or I feel like they're closer to their co-worker, or I feel like they spend time with their friends, be honest and then address that. Oh, I'm not comfortable with that, and then see the action from their side, and then you can take it from there. So those were the 3 important things that I wanted to bring to the table with regards to how to cope with jealousy. And I did want to say that I got these coping mechanisms from Dr. Gonzalez Barrios. So just to summarize in terms of what jealousy is, jealousy for me is an emotion of self-reflection because it speaks to you, your insecurities and your inadequacies and all of these things that are coming from the inside to the outside. But then you're able to see these emotions because now you're looking at them from someone else and they're shining that insecurity back to you, and that comes back to you as jealousy, like, oh, they taking my spot for real. And then in terms of where jealousy comes from, it definitely comes from insecurity, inadequacy. It comes from fear that someone is going to take something or someone that you have and you want, and also that it's going to take away opportunity and advantages from you. And then there's different types of jealousies. I'm not going to say that again, But you need to, in order for you to address the emotion of jealousy, you need to confront your fears, you need to address your expectations, and you need to be open and honest. Again, I don't like making these things long, even though these ones I've been doing for the past 2 months now have been longer, which I like. But thank you guys for joining, and thank you for supporting this little situation of mine that I'm doing over here in my corner over at YouTube. Do comment, do subscribe, do tell your friends, and do support where you can. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next week where I talk about another emotion. You're gonna feel emotions. Bye, guys.